Bonjour mes amis! Hi guys, I've got a little time on my hand and a lovely chrono automatic chronograph 2 on the wrist. And I thought I would pull out some hand wound watches, why not, and have a little random chat about them. What's nice when you don't have a rotor, well, one, you don't have the rotor noise, two, when you wind them fully, you pretty much know how long they're going to run for. Maybe a bit less for the chronograph if you tend to use your chronograph, but overall, I quite like that idea that you wind them and you know you're going to have 45 hours also of power reserve for most of them. And also, as a result, the watches can come in a slimmer package, like this lovely Cartier Americaine, I should say, properly. The reference, if you're wondering, is written in the back there, 1736. Lovely, lovely execution here with a beautiful dial details. It's just such an icon. So very thin, hand wind. And let me bring all these watches close to the microphone so you can hear. This one you can barely hear anything, very refined click. It's a high horology caliber. I believe it's Frédéric Piguet caliber that would be inside this watch. Quite not easy to find actually information about certain Cartier watches. And this one is not a very common reference. I've put it on this handmade Camille Fournet strap. It shows this color, recommended by Mr. Chrono here in Hong Kong. Beautiful watch, and you have the original buckle here. Also lovely. It's just such a classic icon, and on this table really you have four icons. You have a Patek Philippe, you have Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso, and you have a Speedmaster Omega. You can't get more iconic than these, so it just happened that those are hand wound watches, and that they're all so iconic. That's it's pretty cool. So let's just zoom in quickly on the Cartier since we were talking about it. It's got the heat blued hands. You can see the guilloche all over the all over the dial. It's interesting how the paint is just looks almost still wet as I move this under the light, and you can see the signature Cartier there in the V of the 7 Roman numeral. Such a classic piece, and it works really well. Just lovely on pretty much any wrist, I think. Those Tank Americaine. The Tank Century would be the longer, more rare usually, less produced in large numbers version. I really like all of these Cartier. And staying with the rectangular watch, of course, we have a Reverso, but not just any Reverso. So late 90s, Jaeger-LeCoultre made another push at producing new calibers. They did a chronograph version of this Grand Sport, and they wanted to attract a younger audience, although the watch now looks very mature, actually, especially with that very 90s kind of type of bracelet, which is just excellent. Polished on the outer edge and brushed in the center with a crazy, excellent, over-engineered double deploy and clasp. You need to double push to open it. You can see how well engineered with the extensions inside on each side. There you go, 2 millimeters here, and you have another 2 millimeters on this side. So just a super silky smooth, very practical bracelet. The back fits well on the wrist. So yeah, Grand Sport. There was time only. I think there was certainly the chronograph, which I used to have, and this is the time zone, and probably the best winding. This one you're probably gonna hear it, although it's not a recent watch. This one came to me pristine, and just you can hear those teeth inside in the winding mechanism are like new, really beautiful. So you have the, again, great work there on the dial, just like the Cartier. You have a day-night indication, you have a date which you can change with this pusher. So there's just one position. You can see the running seconds there with the concentric pattern there on it, and this watch doesn't hack. Not a problem for me. I get used to it. What I like with the hand-wound watches is that as soon as you turn them, they start right away. So just half a second before wherever the second stopped, you just start turning, and boom, you can get them pretty much exactly at the time you want, if you want to set them precisely. This one still has pretty good loom, especially on the hands, but even the numerals are loomed, so very cool at night. And of course, the star of the show is this incredible mechanism. You can see a bit how it is built here. Very clever mechanism. This is the back of the watch. And you have another time zone, which you can change here with the button. Very good feel on this pusher, and with a day-night indication, and I'll let you admire the patterns again on this dial. Just such a fun watch, such an excellent piece. I wish they did a bit more. They came back with another version of the Grand Sport. I think it's supposed to be a sports watch, and I prefer them in this format than in the dressier format, although any Reverso is quite beautiful always. This one is a very sporty watch. We're staying with sports, of course. The Speedmaster. This is the outgoing version. I love winding my Speedy. It takes a bit of use too, because as you can see, you have the asymmetrical. That's better. Asymmetrical case. So on this side, it's a bit larger to cover, to sort of safeguard the crown, which means a bit less room to grab it, but you just apply pressure here and just turn there, and then it's just pure pleasure next to the mic. It was almost fully worn because I've been wearing this for a couple of days. I was wearing it to play tennis. I don't know why I love to wear this when I play tennis. It's so comfortable. I love the older bracelet. I feel it's so solid. I like the polished elements. They are not just enough, not too much. The case, the mid case, which is so small, and all the hooks and crannies there. I think it's such a lovely piece. Wears great, feels great. The loom is amazing at night. The winding is great, and you get that strong pusher feel. So it's cool because we have a time only here. We have a 2 time zone, and we have a chronograph here. And here with the Patek, we'll have another double time zone, but more in a travel time configuration. Classic chronograph, not the most elaborate, but just a fantastic watch, approved by NASA, of course. Simple class, but I never felt uncomfortable with it, never felt like I needed any sort of extension. As I said, it's very hot here in Hong Kong, and I play tennis with the watch, so really no issue for me. This can easily be my only watch. You know, you're always cool when you wear any of these iconic watches. You're never caught off guard if you think about it with any of these. Doesn't matter if the guy next to you has an FP Journe or whatever. You always have a story to tell with these. It's always cool in any conversation. So this is the outgoing model, so you don't have the coaxial amagnetic metas movement, but between you and I think I prefer this more simple version. Less things that can go wrong, easy to maintain in the future. Of course, this one is the Hessalite version. I've polished it once or twice, but I kind of prefer my watches. Some of my watches, maybe not the Cartier or the Patek, but the sportier watches, I like to have some scratches on them, some blemishes, as long as it's not too crazy. So yeah, I wear this a lot. And I bought it. It was such a steal, 25,000 Hong Kong dollar. You know what, 3,200 US. If that is just at the best time to buy it full set, brand new, from a gray dealer. And yeah, I suppose a bit the star of the show, in a way. Patek Calatrava, always a grand classic, which I should probably clean up a little bit. So this one was my first Patek. It just came up at a great price, great deal from a second-hand dealer here. I'm the second owner of it. It only had one scratch here. Probably that one is me, but it means, if it's scratched already, you can just enjoy it, and I sure have. That's still the original leather band. So this one is the travel time. Let me put it next to the mic as I wind it. Very refined, very lovely. This one doesn't have a long power reserve, probably under 40 hours, maybe 36, 38 hours. So easy it's quickly wound, about 25 wound. And if I try to slow down towards the end to make sure I don't go too heavy on the winding. And as I read in the longer manual when I had my hand wound annual calendar, once you hit the end, I tend to give a bit of slack back, turning it back a couple of clicks, just to relax the system, the mechanics a little bit. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I feel like it's important. So this one, let me move a bit, doesn't have a date, so there's nothing that can really go wrong. And if you don't want to see the second time zone, so I use it really as a GMT. So I have my second time zone in the 24 hours format, which is in a 12-hour format also with the skeletonized hand. It's really almost a regulator, you can, in a way, because you have the seconds also decoupled here at the bottom. And by the way, this configuration with the 3/9 is one of the most unusual ones. You can find some with the whole Breguet numerals, which I find a bit too close to the two sub-dials. There's different configurations. I really like this one with the railroad track around. And so this button will make your home time move, and then there you go. If you don't want to see the second time zone, you can hide it. So normally you will wear it like this, and you will use it like this, and as you travel, you keep your home time there, and then you decouple, one way or the other. So it's quite a fun little tool to play with. This button here has gotten a bit lazy. You have to give it a proper push. Probably the watch could use a little service. So it's 36 millimeters, 36 or 37, but because this one has the crown guard and the extra pushers, it wears a bit bigger than it is. And you have fairly generous lugs as well. And obviously I gotta show you, at least on this one, I have something to show you at the back. And if you look at the older Patek movements, you can find watches with very similar architecture. I think I've shown that in one of my previous videos. The architecture of those hand-wound movements had never changed. This one here is the 215 156 movement. I just love the little bridges. The one in the middle is just so elegant. I love those curves, and you can, as I angle it, you can see a bit more of the anglage work there. all around. The polished screws, of course. This is the ratchet wheel and whatnot. This one too is doesn't have any hacking, but again, no issue. Just one thing to know when you set this time, a bit like the Valjoux, it's a bit imprecise, so I find that you need to bring the minute forward, towards forward than the time where you want to set it, and then bring it backwards, and then you will have a better chance at setting it very accurately. Just a lovely movement. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if I pull this and set my sorry, I'm too close. Set my minutes. Let's say I want to set it right on the 10. When I push it back, you'll see it's gonna move back a little bit. So I found that to avoid that, let's try to hit the 15. I would go maybe 10 minutes further and then bring it back like I do on a Valjoux. And then when I re-engage, oh, you see that then it moves the other way. Maybe try to do something in the middle. So it's funny little watches. You have to maybe get used to it. I found it funny when people were complaining about the new in-house movement of Oris, which has a lot of quality, and they were complaining of those little jumps, and then Oris explained that okay, you have to do this, overshoot and bring it back, and do this and that to have to be able to set it precisely. Every movement is a bit different. The Seikos actually never jump at all, very easy to set, so it goes to show you even a very entry level Seiko never jumps, and then you have here a very high-end watch, but it's a very different thing, and it's something you learn to live with, and also maybe you don't really care to have it set all that precisely. And as I said, probably this watch could use a bit of maintenance at this point. What's important is just to wind them regularly. Just don't leave them, even if you bought them for very rare occurrences, or even for just for the pleasure to collect, or investing even once a week. You should wind them. Don't leave them for a year in the vault and then expect them to run. You wouldn't do that to a car. So I think Philippe Dufour was saying that in an interview on the Watches TV, which I watched yesterday. A very interesting interview. I recommend you to check it out. The Watches TV is such a good channel. Don't expect the holes to be in the right place if you leave the watch not running for too long. And I find with those manual hand wound watches that you get this connection, and you feel a bit more part of the watch as an owner. It's a very nice connection. All right, guys, let me know in the comments which are your favorite hand wound watches. Which ones would you like to buy? Which one from my collection do you prefer, or do you like them all? I didn't plan to have this mix of functions and shapes in my collection. It just happened like this, that these are must-haves, and they kind of came to me. This one I just popped on my radar on Chrono 24 at a great price. I had set probably an alert for Patek within a certain price range, so I didn't plan to buy it, but there you go. Actually, I was looking for a different dial configuration. I think it's a Watchfinder video that led me to put an alert for this model, because they were pointing out how well priced they were 2 or 3 years ago. And then as I was watching Archie Luxury, was saying how the Omega Speedy for 3-4 years ago was at such a low price, because there's such a big amount of them in the market, that it was time to buy one. So I did, and I found a great price. And these two, I found them at this one Actually, the chronograph version of this, I found it at the same shop as the Cartier, a nice little shop I like here in Bangkok, where they always have something different than the usual Rolex stuff. And this watch was in the window for months. Nobody cared. At a ridiculous price, you know, less than 5,000 US for white gold, and you have to pay more for a steel ETA version now at Cartier. I mean, people are blind. But I mean, it's not for everybody. But to me, it's such a classic. Was very lucky that I get to enjoy a Cartier. You gotta let the watches come to you. You can't just go on Chrono24. Okay, I'm gonna buy a Cartier because this guy bought one and recommending it. I'm sure some of you might be starting looking for some of these watches after watching my video. You gotta kind of let them come to you at the right price, the right deal. Maybe find it from a friend, a collector or something. And this one, yeah, I was really looking for something like this on Chrono24. It was a bit expensive, but pristine, full set, and sold by Chrono24 themselves. I knew it was going to be a great experience, and it came from Germany really quickly in perfect condition. So I would really recommend them as a seller. Whatever you might think about Chrono24 as a seller, now they are excellent, top class. It came out better than I expected, mechanically as well. All right, 20 minutes, that's long enough. Thank you for watching, putting all your comments about hand-wound watches. I think they're great. They have a lot of charm, especially these four. And I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye bye, guys.